Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, you got a couple $1 billion. Maybe you could be the new owner of the Seattle Seahawks. But before we get to any of that, time for your daily dose of adrenaline.
You want me to stick this into my heart? Are you f***ing nuts?
We heard about this nationwide shutdown of businesses today. I drove through downtown today. I didn't see anything going on, and we're in the activist capital of the world. I guess rapper Macklemore, who is way past his prime, not that many people follow his social media. That's right, he's one of the celebrities, I guess you could say, who was calling for a shutdown today. No work, no school, no shopping, ice out everywhere. Have you seen this? I haven't seen it. And we're in the activist capital of the U.S. I haven't seen anything like this. He wrote, lately it's become impossible to ignore. Gaza and Minneapolis are not separate stories. Okay, tell me you don't know anything about Gaza or Minneapolis without telling me you don't know anything about Gaza or Minneapolis. Stick to rapping. You need some work. You haven't had a hit in a while. They operate through the same machinery that treats people as disposable and calls it order. Different places, the same architecture of harm. Property protected, always stolen. Profit prioritized, violence just. Is he writing a new rap? Is this lyrics from his rap where he just cut and pasted? I can't rap. I tried in the 90s like every other white kid my age, and it is just not for me. Luckily, I learned very quickly. That is not something I can do. It's just not in my skill set.
Well, it's a good thing we have AI now.
There you go. So if you want to make Ari Hoffman rapping,
there you go.
I'm sure that young Zach can conjure that up out of nowhere with the next time he uses the AI. So, okay, they say this is a thing. What is the last line here? Capitalism responds to pressure, not conscience. That's the pressure point. Not outrage, withdrawal. What? I don't care anymore. I don't care. There's too much of this nonsense, and I think he's trying to rap in an Instagram post. I don't think it's working real well. I'm not seeing these national shutdowns at all. I see signs. I've seen a couple of the signs, but they're on open businesses. What the hell are we talking about here? Oh, we'll sell you water bottles for the shutdown. Need lunch for the shutdown? We'll sell it to you. Need a tent? Need a sign? Need a chant sheet? We'll sell it to you. That's capitalism. That is capitalism, my friends. But unfortunately, our city is being led by one of these Looney Tune activists. Yesterday, while we were broadcasting from Olympia, we found out that Seattle Socialist Mayor Katie Wilson announced a sweeping set of actions directing the city's police department to investigate, verify, and document immigration and customs enforcement activity while simultaneously expanding legal and financial support for illegal aliens and restricting federal immigration enforcement from using city-owned property. Number one, I don't think legally she can do any of this. Number two, here's something else I brought up yesterday. With what cops? With what cops? You don't have enough cops. Before the massive exodus from 2020, you were down at 60% of capacity. It's only gotten infinitely worse. That was before you lost an additional 800 cops. How do you plan on doing this? Here's something else. I thought she was anti-police. Now you want to use the police to go after ICE? You know, be more transparent. It's not that they want to defund the police. It's that they want their police. Why were Jay Inslee and Turd Ferguson and Jenny Durkin and Bruce Harrell fine with all these cops getting fired during COVID? Because they're the troublemakers. Because they don't comply. Because they don't follow orders. What do they want? They want their own woke police department that they can use on whoever they want. And in this case, it's ICE. Are you trying to get us into a civil war? Are there any cops who would actually comply with this? I'll tell you what, we'll put this out here for our friends in the police department. All right? You can text us. You don't have to give us your name. You don't have to tell you are. But text us and let us know if you think this is actually going to go through. I don't think so at all. Now, there's a lot more in this order of hers, her executive order, which doesn't really do anything. She's allocating $4 million of your taxpayer dollars to illegal immigrants' legal fees and support, and urged businesses and property owners to put up notices banning ICE from their properties. Because she can't ban ICE from your property. You can say you don't want anybody on that property, but guess what? If they got a criminal they're chasing down, there's very little you can do about it. The announcement comes despite city officials acknowledging there is currently no indication of a surge in ICE or Customs Border Protection activity in Seattle. So why are we doing this? Kevin, when you're driving down the street, you don't see the businesses closed signs, but also you see a whole lot of ICE activity going on out there. Have you seen a lot of that?
No.
No. Okay. I haven't seen that either. Dr. Evil would say, how about no?
A bunch of it on TV, but nothing like, you mean live?
Yeah.
In front of my naked, steaming eyes? No.
Right. I haven't seen it either. You know, it's kind of like, I think what we should do, I got an idea here. Trump is good at reality shows. I think we should bring back Cops, but I think we should call it ICE. I would watch the you-know-what out of that show. I would have fun with that. And then you have ICE, Worst of the Worst edition, right? So you have, okay, this is the one for TV, and then you have the Too Hot for TV one, where there's like naked people running around. And then you have the reality show where you put an illegal alien on an island with like 10 women and see if somebody wants to date him. You see what we could do with all this? Holy cow. Trump should do this. Look at all the money we can make for the federal government right there.
Video game?
Video game.
Yeah,
Go hunt
sure.
your own illegal... Wait a minute. Hang on. This is all of a sudden starting to look a little something else. But in all seriousness here, people, if we were seeing all the ICE stuff, we'd have video of it. We'd be seeing... The only ones I've seen video from is Katie Davenport. And she sometimes goes out with ICE. I think she's only getting that video when she goes with ICE. I'll have to ask her about that. We're actually going to have her on the show next week. So they want to use money for lawyers, your taxpayer money for lawyers, so they can fight with the U.S. government their deportation. Who are they protecting, by the way? I think we have to do this again because we did it yesterday and it was a lot of fun. All right, here we go. This one here from ERO Seattle. ICE took custody of Emilio Valenzuela Perez, a criminal illegal alien from Mexico after he served a 44-month sentence for illegal reentry. His 7th time in jail for this felony. ICE removed him 8 times after his first ordered removed in 2002. Okay, that's not as spicy as we normally get. What we got here? ICE Seattle recently detained Osmar Lavenia Bermudez, a criminal illegal alien from Cuba. To ensure a 2008 removal order is followed through, his rap sheet includes assault, identity theft, possession of meth, 4 counts of robbery, and felony possession of a weapon. That's what we're doing here. That's what you want. Okay, so you want to stop ICE from kicking out people like him and murderers and rapists and child molesters. And you don't want the Seattle Police Department doing its job of actually protecting all of us from the murderers, the rapists, and the child molesters. I'm just making sure I understand what's going on here. Katie Wilson wants anarchy. That's what she wants. You know, Katie Wilson got hit with the bill today for Jenny Durkin's Summer of Love Block Party Street Fair. I don't know if you heard about this. Yesterday, there was a verdict in the first autonomous zone case to go to trial. $31.5 million the jury awarded a father of Antonio Mays Jr., who was killed inside the autonomous zone because they said Seattle was negligent regarding what they allowed to happen. Oh, you think? Hang on, by my math, carry the 1, carry the 2. Seattle has already paid out about $50 million in settlements over the autonomous zone. And there's going to be more, by the way. This is not the end of it. So yesterday, you found out that Katie Wilson gets hit with $31.5 million bill for a mess that Jenny Durkin and all of her activist buddies made by ordering the Seattle police to evacuate the East Precinct, turning it over to the mob, turning over the barricades over to the mob. And then when the mob took over 6 blocks of Seattle, rather than shutting it down right away, you let it go on for a month. For a month. 6 shootings. 2 people were killed. All of them were black teens. Rapes, robberies, crime went through the roof. Businesses couldn't operate. It was an absolute bleep show run by the warlord of the autonomous zone. It sounds like something out of a movie. Yes, this all actually happened. Antonio Mays Jr., if you don't remember specifically which case was his, you might remember towards the end of the autonomous zone, there was a white Jeep zipping around the autonomous zone. 2 teenagers were inside this Jeep, and the CHAZ security, the autonomous zone security, opened fire on the Jeep with AR-15s and other weapons. You know, the security that outlets like CNN and mainstream media said wasn't there? What are you talking about? It's not there. Remember seeing the warlord of the autonomous zone, Raz Simone, handing out AR-15s out of a trunk of a Tesla to anybody who would stand a post. They didn't care about gun laws then. So CHAZ security opens up on this car it sees zipping around, kills one of the occupants. It crashes. The other one is horribly maimed. And then we have seen the video where people went in and messed with the crime scene to remove the evidence and took the weapons to the autonomous zone armory. Yes, for all the outlets that said it wasn't an armed occupation, why does the armed occupation have an armory if it's not armed? Can somebody explain that one to me for a minute? So, this is the results of Katie Wilson's activism. I'm sure Katie Wilson is probably one of those people who's in favor of the autonomous zone. So I reached out to Katie Wilson's staff last night, asking them for a statement about how do you plan on protecting the other parts of the city? How do you plan on enforcing this? All these ICE agents being reported by the SPD when you don't have enough cops. And I haven't heard back yet. My guess is we'll likely never hear back from her because she probably has the same blacklist in place that Bruce Harrell had in place, where they just don't want to answer questions from anybody at all. This whole thing is virtue signaling. This is trying to say we're standing up against them. You know how many press release lists I'm on? I'm on tons of them from like every politician and every city agency and every police department, you name it, almost all of them in our area. I'm getting a press release every single day, or a lot of you out there are forwarding them to me, talking about how they're going to resist ICE. They're going to do it. So you want to help keep criminals in Washington state. Just making sure we're clear on all this. Just making sure we're crystal clear. You want to help keep the criminals in Washington state. So where do you draw the line? Because Tom Homan just went out to Minneapolis, and he was negotiating a deal with Jacob Frey and with Tim Walz. Tim Walz told a half-truth when he was talking to Tom Homan. What was the half-truth? He says the state turns over our illegal alien criminals to ICE. That is partially true. So what he is saying is that if they are in the Department of Corrections system and have been convicted of a crime, then they turn them over to ICE. However, there's a lot of people who have been arrested who are multi-offenders, who should have been deported anyway, that are in the city or county system, even in the state system yet, and don't have the most recent conviction yet, but have deportation orders from beforehand for prior convictions, and they're not turning them all over. Okay, you want to make a deal with, I don't know, Tim Walz and Jacob Frey? How do you make that deal? How about you just say to them, guys, can we agree you don't want the murderers in town? Because after all, there's been a 20% drop in murder, and murder rates are some of the lowest they've been in modern history. Gee, I wonder why that is after 1 year, only 1 year. So can we say, will you agree about the murderers? Yes? No? If it's no, there's no reasoning with these people. Okay. How about the rapists? Yes, no? How about the child molesters? Yes, no. Katie Wilson's office doesn't want to answer these questions. Do you think a murderer who's an illegal alien should be deported? Do you think a child molester who's an illegal alien should be deported? Do you think that a rapist who's an illegal alien should be deported? Do you think that somebody with a serious felony conviction should be deported? And I worry that somebody like Katie Wilson is going to say no. Here's what Tom Homan said in a press conference following his meeting with Walz and Frey.
All operations will be targeted, but the prioritization are going to be criminal aliens, public safety threats, and national security threats. I've met with Marcos and his staff. We got to allow them. We got to allow them to keep us busy. So that would be our focus.
But that is enough that's what, there is not going to be a focus on people who have no other crimes except for their status.
If you're in the country illegally, you're never off the table. But privatization doesn't mean you forget about everybody. So let me say this. If the message we send is you can enter this country illegally, it's a crime, don't worry about it. You can have your due process, show up in court, not show up in court, get ordered removed, don't worry about it. Unless you commit a serious crime, you're good to go. If that's the message we send to the world, you're never going to fix this problem. The most vulnerable people in the world will make that dangerous journey like they did under the Joe Biden administration. Over 4,000 aliens died making that journey. And again, a significant increase in sex trafficking. Because when they did that and opened those borders up saying, we're not going to detain you, we're going to give you free health care, we're going to fly you to the city of your choice, put you in a free hotel room, give you 3 meals a day, and give you work authorization, we're just going to bring you in. And when they did that, they sent a message to the whole world, you can come and do this. And what happened? They overwhelmed the men and women of the Border Patrol, where many days 70% of agents were pulled off that line. 70%. You don't think the criminal cars had a field day with that? They created gaps for the cartels, do their activity. And that's why you've seen the rise in fentanyl overdose. That's why you saw the rise in sex trafficking. The 2 million plus known gotaways, why did they pay more to get away? Why didn't they pay less, turn yourself in, get released within 24 hours? You get a free airline ticket to the city of your choice. We're going to give you a free hotel room, and we'll give you free food and free medical care. And you can get work authorization in 6 months. Why did 2 million people choose to pay more not to take advantage of that giveaway program?
Exactly right, because they were here to do bad things, and they knew it would turn up in their record, and they didn't want to take the chance of being on the grid. What does the left really want here? I think they want a civil war. You have Katie Wilson, who literally wants the Seattle Police Department tracking ICE, documenting ICE, going after ICE. Are you kidding me with this? That's kind of what they tried to do in 2020. It just didn't work out so well because eventually people go, why is my Target being burned down over George Floyd? Why is my Amazon Whole Foods being burned down over George Floyd? In an interview with The Atlantic, Walsh warned that the rising tensions in his state could be a Fort Sumter moment. Are you kidding me with this? He said it's a Fort Sumter. It's a physical assault. It's an armed force that's assaulting, that's killing my constituents and killing my citizens. Really? Fort Sumter, for those of you who don't know history, in the middle of South Carolina's Charleston Harbor, was the site of an April attack in 1861 that marked the official beginning of the Civil War. I think some Democrats want that. It's not just Katie Wilson. It's not just Tim Walsh. Here's our very own Democrat from Hamas, a.k.a. People crack up when I say that. Democrat from Washington State, Pramila Jayapal.
We really need to, as soon as we get the gavels back, we have to dismantle DHS and ICE and CBP. And we have to reconstruct them to what they really should be doing. Remember, don't let people tell you that these are agencies that have always existed and they need to exist. They didn't exist before 9/11.
We did have the Border Patrol. We did have people enforcing it. We created more agencies so that we could be safer, so that we could be more secure. We did have people patrolling the border. It wasn't wide open. That's what they want. And why do they want them? They want them for the votes. Why do they want them? Because they want them in this country so they don't lose the power and don't lose congressional seats in states where people are fleeing. That's why they're doing this. And they figure to make an omelet, you might as well break some eggs. Katie Wilson wants a civil war. She wants her police department. That's exactly what she wants. Now, before I forget, my friends, today we are giving away fantabulous prizes. And in fact, right now is your chance to win tickets to see Lionel Richie with Earth, Wind, and Fire on August 3rd at Climate Pledge Arena. Tickets actually go on sale today. So this is your last chance, or second to last chance. We do this twice today. This is your chance to win these fantabulous prizes. All you have to do is text the word I give you to the number I give you. So the word today is groove. Groove. Text the word groove to 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757 for your chance to win. Lots more to discuss as the show continues, including what Seattle Public Schools says they're doing to push back against ICE. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Matt on the Warrior Injury Law text line says that he did spot the anti-ICE shutdown people. They were out in front of the Target on 2nd, drove past them about 45 minutes ago. You know what my question is? Was the Target open? Because these seem to be the people who I don't think the Target was closed. These seem to be the people who are never at work. Like, for example, the guy who was killed in Minneapolis, Alex Preddy. You see the new video that came out yesterday? The new video which shows him attacking ICE officers, kicking their cars, shattering their taillights. You know he had broken ribs before what happened to him. They think that this is where it happened. So everybody likes to say he's an ICU nurse. Kevin, I assume you have friends in the medical world. Do you see them very often to hang out? I know that they are so short-staffed around here these days. My friends in the medical world, I rarely see them, and they always look exhausted.
That is, the two that I'm thinking of right now.
Yeah. Okay. So
exact same.
I
Yes.
assume they work a lot. They don't have time to go do anything, let alone go protest in the streets. So this guy seemed to be spiraling. That's what he did. But because he did his thing and decided to attack some agents, now all of a sudden everybody's gone to their corners. Oh, crazy stuff. Remember, we're talking all week about, now going on 2 weeks. Seattle Public Schools put a whole bunch of schools into lockdown after they got reports of ICE. Well, now Seattle Public Schools is trying to save face because there was nothing ever confirmed. Seattle Police Department said nothing about it. Seattle Police Department said, we have no confirmed reports of any of this happening. Well, now they're releasing new guidelines about how they should respond to reports of immigration enforcement activities near campus. Seattle Police Department officials said they didn't receive any verified reports. Despite the lack of confirmation, these schools initiated safety protocols. So, the district said because it was unable to verify whether the vehicles were affiliated with any law enforcement agency or conducting official business, they still now have a new plan. Superintendent Fred Podesta sent a letter to families and staff announcing a new district-wide guidance, which relates to this. He says they're going to use their safety and security team. Safety and security team, Okay, who's that exactly? Because you banned police from the campus. What, you got some teacher sitting by the front as like a receptionist or something? Is that what we're talking about? Do you have a hall monitor? What's going to keep your school safe and secure because you banned police from the campuses? Hey, wait a second. Oh, wait, this is how we get the police back on the campuses. Katie Wilson says to Seattle Public Schools, hey, I'll give you back the police, but you got to use them to target ICE and stop ICE. Oh, this is how we do it. Now I understand. By the way, Seattle Police Officers Guild, I reached out to our friend Mike Solon, and I was asking him about, hey, dude, got a question for you. Can Katie Wilson actually order the Seattle Police Department to go target ICE, to go document what ICE is doing? Is this for real? So Mike Solon from the Seattle Police Officers Guild posts this over on social media. Toothless virtue signaling rhetoric like this has already cost 2 people their lives. The concept of pitting 2 armed law enforcement agencies against each other is ludicrous and will not happen. I will not allow SPOG members to be used as political pawns. Boom. Shakalaka. He's 100% right. Just say no. Too bad Chief Wiggum, the Seattle police chief, wasn't that smart. And he said he's going to go along with Katie Wilson's insane plan. Said he's going to go along with it. Said he's got, and then they got the city attorney to weigh in on it also. Yeah, we're all going to go along with it. Now they got Seattle Public Schools on it too. Are you kidding me? Do they really want a war out in the streets? They're all agreeing with this. Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes emphasized that his department would not participate in immigration enforcement, but would comply with the mayor's new protocols. Quote, I understand the concern and anxiety in the community. I want to make sure that the police are here to keep you safe, regardless of your immigration status. The city of Seattle is a welcoming city, and my officers will continue to abide by all the laws and regulations that prohibit our participation in immigration enforcement. Time out, I got a question. How about you guys just try to do enforcement? Because it seems like that's a problem with you. It should be, it doesn't matter if the person's illegal or not illegal. If they kill somebody, they should go to jail. If they assault somebody, they should go to jail. If they rape somebody, they should go to jail. Unfortunately, I see you not having as many arrests as we used to have. Why do you think that is? You don't have enough cops. So, Here's something else he adds at the end here. While we have no authority over federal agents or federal policies, we will document incidents if and when notified. So now you're supposed to call 911 to say, I saw ICE on the corner. You're going to have 911 running in circles. Oh, wait, who am I kidding? 911 puts you on hold half the time around here. You're going to have them out there running around in circles. And then Katie Wilson said this. Katie Wilson said they're going to work with community partners to fight back against ICE. Katie Wilson used Antifa as her security guards when she was running for office. Who do you think her community partners are going to be? Likely all of her Looney Tune activist buddies. That's probably what it's going to be. Crazy. Absolutely crazy, crazy stuff. It seems like they just want a war. By the way, Lenny Krasner, another Soros DA. This is what he said.
Bunch of wannabe Nazis. That's what they are. In a country of 350 million, we outnumber them. If we have to hunt you down the way they hunted down Nazis for decades, we will find your identities. We will find you. We will achieve justice.
Somebody's doing a really knockoff impression of the Taken monologue. Yeah, Lenny Krasner's what you get when you order Liam Neeson on Wish.com. You get Lenny Krasner. I don't know who you are. I don't have any money. I mean, come on, man, really? Can we stop with the Nazi comparisons? Really? This is the new thing. And when you keep dialing up the rhetoric and dialing up the rhetoric and dialing up the rhetoric, what do you think is eventually going to happen? Here's Tricia McLaughlin from DHS.
Well, that's when we have to have a visible presence on the ground. And I know Tom Hoffman, he's on the ground there, and he's a great asset to President Trump and has quite a bit of insight and experience. And we're hoping that he can make inroads with those local officials there, because as much as Tim Walz wants to play these kind of word games where he's saying, oh, we actually honor detainers, the reality on the ground is they don't when it comes to these cities and county jails. Actually, last year alone, 470 criminal legal aliens were released from Minnesota's jails back onto their streets. That's exactly what we're trying to prevent. As we speak, Stuart, there are 1,360 criminal legal aliens in Minnesota's jails. What we want is the commitment that they are going to honor those detainers and turn them over to ICE, or at least give us a notification before they're released.
Is that so hard? Is that really so hard? Why do they want all the criminals out on the streets? Don't forget, this is distracting from fraud. Do you think word came down from on high in Washington? Hey, they're talking about the fraud again. They're not talking so much about Minneapolis. Quick, Katie Wilson, do something. Say you're going to have the police start going after ICE or something like that, so nobody's talking about the fraud anymore. Then Hoffman will be talking about what you said, and he won't be talking about the fraud anymore. Oh, my friends. So much more fraud I'm digging into over the weekend. I'm sure I'll have more of that stuff for you on Monday. When we come back, my friends, more from Olympia, more from Washington, D.C., right here on the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI.
On 570 KVI.
Well, you guys like when Scott Bessent doesn't sound like an economist. You guys like when he goes after Gavin Newsom. So, once again, he went after Gavin Newsom because Gavin Newsom went flying out to Davos, and everybody's trying to figure out why. Here's what Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said.
You were in Davos last week. Was it on the plane ride over that you decided to steal Gavin Newsom's soul, or was that just something that was extemporaneous?
No, look, I'm a peaceful guy.
Yes.
I don't fire unless fired upon. the governor showed up at a talk I was giving. I don't think he understood very much of it. And I used to teach. There's always a kid in the class who doesn't understand what's going on, and he gets frustrated and then lashes out. So, like, he made some rude remark about my talk, and once he started, I was going to finish. Yeah. And I also think that it's one thing. He's a Californian. I think he's probably never lived outside of California. Right, to go on the international stage is a big deal. Yeah. And he had to go to Davos to see all the CEOs he chased out of California. Right. But I actually think he was cracking up a little because he was just saying strange things. Like the president is a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Yeah, it didn't make any sense. Didn't make any sense. And Tyrannosaurus Rex was the apex predator back then. Like, it's kind of a compliment. And
his dino's wrong.
And then he said he brought all these knee pads with him.
You're like, huh?
I don't know.
Not getting the right imagery.
I don't know. Mayor of San Francisco, who knows?
Okay, I'm loving Scott. I liked him before. I liked all his economic stuff, but now he's pretty entertaining. You think we're going to find Newsom in the Epstein files? No, there's never been anything about that. But it seems like the Epstein files, the more that they come out, the less and less the Democrats are talking about them. They released millions of pages of the Epstein files today. Millions of pages. And all anybody's talking about, this is going to be, the media is going to milk this for all it's worth. One day it's going to be Bill Gates like today. Then it's going to be somebody else. Then it's going to be somebody else. People are just going, what day on the calendar do you have? Which one are you going to get busted on? Now, you have kids in the car, so we have to clean this up a little bit here. And I will repeat that a lot of this are allegations. None of it's been confirmed. But since the New York Times is reporting on this, I think we can report on this too. In an email sent to himself in July of 2013, Epstein wrote, "Dear Bill, I cannot believe that you have chosen to disregard our friendship we have developed over the last 6 years. I'm aware of that accidents happen. It is how each of us has chosen to deal with this unfortunate event that has me dismayed beyond comprehension. You have decided to discharge me from my job, had Larry, your personal PR person, tell me that I engaged in morally inappropriate behavior, asked me to be the major actor in a cover-up so that you can maintain the reputation you have worked so hard to achieve, asked me to recommit to a confidentiality agreement, and have categorically told me that we cannot have any direct ongoing business relationship in total disregard for its impact on the public perception of my reputation." Okay, he's not talking to Bill Clinton. He's talking to Bill Gates here. Okay. And don't forget whose word you're taking at this here. He said, to add insult to injury, you implore me to please delete emails regarding your, shall we just say, a challenge he had where he may have had a burning sensation of some kind. Need some penicillin for. Shall we just leave it at that for the kiddos?
Yeah, it's like when you go hiking or whatever, you get those hitchhikers on your pant leg, It's
yeah, I don't think it was that on the pant leg.
He kind of picked something up going on a hike sort of thing.
Sure.
Right?
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
He was giving it a round of applause. You might say he was clapping for it. Okay. All right. Now everybody gets it. Okay. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda. And then it gets more graphic from here. We're gonna put a little pin in that one right there and just leave it there. It gets a lot more graphic. Now, do we know this actually happened?
Look, this is just email between buddies.
Sure.
You know how you email your buddies with this sort of thing?
Yeah. All the time. I know that when I email my friends, it's not, hey, you want to go to the Seahawks game? Or, hey, you want to go get dinner? The email to my buddies is always, hey, if you have an itching, burning sensation, hey, can you help me out there, bro? I mean, come on, man. Yeah, okay. Nothing's been proven. I'm just reading the email. That's it. Alleged. I got to make sure I keep saying that over and over again. I don't want to get sued by Microsoft. A separate email from later the same day also sent to himself showed a draft resignation letter from a position at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Well, now I don't want to go in the building. I mean, I know it's been a while since either one, but it's right down the street. It's right over there, man. I don't want to go anywhere near that place. They say they're trying to stop worldwide diseases. Maybe it was just Bill spreading the worldwide diseases that was going on. Oh no. This is all kinds of bad. He says, I have not come to this decision quickly or without a great deal of thought. During the past few weeks, I have been caught up in several marital disputes between, what? Oh, this is one of the advisors to Bill Gates. That's what's going on. The advisor to Bill Gates. Okay, between Bill and Melinda. Do you think maybe it was because of his itching burning sensation that there were some marital disputes? I don't know, man. I have the greatest respect for my friend and wish them both well. Oh, dear. This is... you know what? I'm done with the salaciousness. I really am. This is all allegations. And like I said...
not.
No,
you're not.
I am done with this for now, for today.
That's what I was
I've
gonna
had
say.
enough of Bill Gates. I want to see who comes up next, right? But my problem with this is, let's say Bill Gates didn't do anything. For sake of argument, let's say he didn't do anything. Now these emails are out there in the world from a scumbag, right? And now he has to exonerate himself. This is what happened to Dershowitz. We still make the jokes with Dershowitz. A lot of other people do. Hey, how was that airplane? How was that island? One of the women took him to court and he had to exonerate himself. And he has said since then, you want to come after me? Take me to court. I will prove that you were lying. Is Bill Gates going to do the same thing, or is he just going to sit back? If he does the Homer Simpson and goes into the bushes, then that might be more telling than he's trying to clear his name, shall we just say. Yes, don't put any micro robots anywhere in anything like that. Meanwhile, switching gears entirely, so President Trump today has Kevin Warsh nominated to be in charge of the Federal Reserve. That's going to be Jerome Powell's replacement. The Washington Examiner had actually a very, very good write-up about why he picked this guy. It says, more chaotic times call for a more independent, fair chairman, and to replace Powell, whose second term as chairman ends in May. Trump has made the equally inspired and market-selling choice to nominate Kevin Warsh, the former maverick member of the Great Recession-era Federal Reserve Board of Directors, as Fed chairman. Warsh may be the only nominee capable of surviving the political brutality of confirmation on the heels of the Justice Department's unprecedented decision to launch a criminal probe into Powell, widely regarded as the White House's intentional escalation of Trump's incursion into the central bank's independence. Now, why did I pick this op-ed from the Washington Examiner? Because they're not the most pro-Trump outlet. They're really not. But if they're liking a Trump pick, then that means this is somebody who may actually get bipartisan support. And something else that's even more fascinating about this is that if the Democrats go after somebody the Washington Examiner likes, then that shows they're just doing it for the cameras. Throughout a lengthy vetting process, the telegenic Warsh remains the favor of the temperamental Trump while instilling confidence in both the bond market that determines the interest rate financing of our $38.5 trillion national debt and the razor-thin Republican majority in the Senate. Trump has spent 2 presidential terms pillorying Powell for not prematurely slashing the interest rate funds with the sole mercenary goal of juicing the stock market, which on paper makes his nomination of a financier as hawkish as Warsh sometimes curious. Stop. I completely disagree with their analysis here. Why does Trump want the interest rates down? It's not the stock market. The stock market is a bonus. He wants them down so people can afford to buy houses and people can afford to buy cars, and so that employers can expand their businesses. That's why he wants the interest rates down. If people can do all that, they think they can achieve the American dream, and right now they think they can't because interest rates are so high to combat inflation. Now, the problem that I have with the Trump plan is it seems like Republicans are cutting so they can spend on Republican priorities. We got a $1.8 trillion bill out there, which is what they're all fighting over right now. It's going to go through. Just the Democrats are going to make it really, really difficult to go through. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of wasteful spending in this thing. They're going to say they want to get rid of ICE. They're going to say they want to get rid of the Department of Homeland Security. They're going to say they want to get rid of everything. That's what they're going to say. But at the end of the day, this thing funds some of their priorities. And the Democrats, see, they're kind of like a loose cannon. They want the stock market to go down. They want the economy to be bad because then they think they have a better shot at the midterms. But they don't want their personal stocks to go down. They don't want their personal holdings to go down. And if enough people blame them for another shutdown because they took the brunt of it last time, they think they're not actually going to be able to win back the House or the Senate in 2026. So this is going to be fascinating to watch. I think the Democrats put up a mini fight. Don't put up a big fight. We'll see if this actually heads down to shutdown territory. When we come back, my friends, we have the woke report for you. Yes, President Trump is doing his best to eliminate all that insanity, but it sure ain't gone yet. We'll tell you about the latest stuff when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. I'm going to read this verbatim from Como News. Kevin, you may have to check me because I've never seen Como News have a graphic content warning on it. Headline, Florida man wearing lace lingerie accused of hiding gun under prosthetic breasts. Sheriff. Of course, it's a Florida man, right? You know, by the way, there's this game you could do on the internet. You put in your birthday and Florida man, and it'll give you the headline on your birthday about the Florida man. Warning, this article contains graphic content. Viewer discretion is advised. This is from Como News, so automatically I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. I'm going to clean it up as we go, okay? I see Kevin getting nervous over there. We're going to clean this up as we go. A Florida man was arrested after deputies found a gun hidden beneath silicone prosthetic breasts he was wearing while trespassing at a construction site. I have so many questions. I have so many questions. So he wasn't a construction worker. He was trespassing. Trespassing, does that mean homeless? Does that mean he's stealing something? Does that mean he's there to visit somebody? And that's just before we get to the fake accoutrement that this person has. Polk County Sheriff's Office identified him as 39-year-old Matthew Zaccarino. Okay, that's that. Dude, you ain't fooling anybody if that was your goal. You just ain't. Sheriff Grady Judge announced the news on a social media post. Quote, a lace bra, a G-string, and a hidden gun. Folks, you cannot make this up. That's what the sheriff wrote. Includes a video showing this guy's mugshot, as well as detailed the highly unusual situation, noting that the deputies spotted Zaccarino sitting in a vehicle parked at a construction site. As our deputies approached him to see what he was doing on this construction site, we see this dude wearing a red lace bra with prosthetic silicone breasts. Well, then we notice he's wearing a G-string. Judd also said the deputies then searched Zaccarino and found a gun. He said he was on the way to a costume party. Adding that while deputies asked Zaccarino where the party was, he didn't give them an answer and then stopped talking. Quote, can you imagine that? He's mad at us for trying to find out why he's wearing lace bras with guns and G-strings. It was ugly. It was so ugly. Anyway, he went to jail. Have a good day. That's a sheriff. That's a fun sheriff there. Jail record shows Zaccarino was arrested and charged with armed trespassing with a firearm, loitering or prowling, and resisting an officer without violence. Okay, let's have another one for Florida, man. Just a reminder for all the people who always think about moving to Florida, this is going to be in your headlines every single day, stories like this, because for some reason, they're always from Florida. Look at the Warrior Injury Law. Text line, okay, guys, I can't read half of your texts about Bill Gates. I'm not going to read half your texts about Bill Gates, but I am going to read this one from Rob in Lakewood. Bill Gates' affliction gives new meaning to his Windows antivirus. I like that one. That's very good. We award you 5 comedy points. Larry in Magnolia suggests that I go buy a bag of ice at 7-Eleven, drop it in the parking lot, and report it to his school principal. Oh, that's not nice. Funny, but not. I'm not going to do that to a school. If I'm going to do that, I'm not going to make a false call to the cops. We're not going to do that. Funny, though. Very, very funny.
You know, it is interesting that he started the Gates Foundation. A big part of that is finding cures for diseases.
Oh, my God, you're right. It's like AIDS and stuff, right? Yeah.
Wonder if he was inspired by certain...
Why he might want to do that. When did the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation open? I mean, it wasn't, put it this way, at least I didn't know about it until I moved here. Now, that's because they have a giant building here and they're known for it here. That doesn't necessarily mean that's when it started.
I can tell you when we worked in the old building, it was not there.
Right.
That was just that was a giant parking lot for Seattle Center, and there was a complex over there that the Sonics used to practice in.
Gotcha.
So that was all, it was built up from that.
I sent one of the synagogue camp groups to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation one time, and they said it was a very boring tour. They said it was very boring, and I'm like, well, it was free, so shut your face. We're going over there. That's what we're doing. For the budget, it's free. From Kelly in Seattle, Ari, why does no one yell at these people that they are funded by a Nazi? If they want to play these word games, why does no one throw it back in their faces? Interesting point, Kelly. Absolutely. Absolutely. This one here, that Seattle has no more power to set its own immigration policy than to, I don't think that's, count its own money. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Mary, clarify that one. Put that one in there, Mary. But basically, you're 100% right, is that, yes, Seattle does not get to enforce its own immigration policy. Whatever Katie Wilson is doing is pure virtue signaling, just like what Mike Solon said. Apparently, there are some kids out protesting. Looks like somebody's sending me some information that kids are out protesting today. Any excuse to get out of school, right? That's what they're going to be doing.
The Bill and Melinda Gates building was, the campus was opened in 2011.
Right. I knew I lived here already. The question is, when did the foundation start?
I believe it was 2005.
2005. So, yes, also when I lived here already. Right. It's a relatively new thing. Wait a second. When was everybody?
No, I apologize. 2000. 2000 is when it was.
Okay. When was everybody going the island? That was around then, right? After Bill Clinton in office, while Bill Clinton's in office, people were going to the island. That's what we got. I didn't say Bill Clinton was going to the island. I have no information on the Clintons whatsoever. I am very happy with my life. I am not suicidal. I have no information on the Clintons at all. I just want to make sure we have that disclaimer out there. Yeah. Mary, you're 100% right, though, about this immigration stuff, is that, yeah, she really does not have the authority to enforce immigration any way, shape, or form. So this one here, Steve says, Ari, Antifa will become the new police force for Seattle. He's not wrong, by the way. Who are these partner organizations that Katie Wilson is going to work with? Who are these community partners that she's going to work with? Yeah, 100%. This is absolutely what she wanted. You know, I was making all those memes a while ago with the fake headlines. I made a few of them today. I thought they were kind of funny. For example, Jay Inslee surprised to learn that Seattle got fined $31.5 million for the autonomous zone, which he didn't know existed. Right? I mean, we could do it. That's news to me. I knew about CHAP. Right? We all remember this nonsense, right? Jenny Durkin going on TV. Who knows? We could have the summer of love, and even Chris Cuomo's eyes bugging out of his head that she said something that dumb. Yeah, Summer of Love block party just cost Katie Wilson $31.5 million. Actually, later in the show today, Evan O'Shan and Antonio Mays Sr. are going to be joining us to give us their perspective on all this. And Katie Daviscourt was the reporter in the room for the trial. We're having her on the show on Monday because she's going to be telling us about the prosecutor. Because the stories about the prosecutor, the judge, everybody else, I can't wait to hear them. I cannot wait to hear them. So we got Katie Daviscourt coming on the show Monday. It's going to be really, really great. Lots more to discuss as the show continues, my friends. When we come back, Don Lemon is getting squeezed into jail. Right into the jail right there. Yes, bad pun. I think that's exactly what it is. But also my analysis of what's going on from a legal perspective and the latest with my press pass being denied out in Olympia. We'll give you all the details when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI.